Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me today in this live webinar on a very important subject, herbal treatments for high blood pressure, hypertension. So this is a very important subject because, of course, high blood pressure is a life-threatening condition and very prevalent in our society. And many people struggle with this condition. And I would say it's at least 25% of all of my patients are coming to me with high blood pressure. Mostly they've just recently been diagnosed with high blood pressure, but the majority of my patients, at least coming to me, have already been on the medication for some time. And then they try different supplements and they try vitamins and they try different things. And I'm sure they improve their diet. And of course, there's many causes of high blood pressure, and that's what we're going to talk about today, the causes. And then after, of course, they try to take these supplements, vitamin supplements we're talking about. Herbs are not supplements. Vitamin and mineral supplements are a different subject. They usually change their diet, take some supplements, the CoQ10 and these type of things. Maybe they have some hibiscus tea and things like that, and then they still have the high blood pressure, and then they come to me. So that's usually the path people take. But what we're going to understand today is that it's a lot more sophisticated than just say, oh, give me an herb for my blood pressure, which is the way, of course, people think if you're not an herbalist. Today, we're going to talk about the different causes of high blood pressure, which is really the most important point. If you have high blood pressure, the first thing you need to think is, why do I have high blood pressure? Not, oh, give me the herb for the high blood pressure. That's not the right thinking. And then once you know why you have it, then there's certain types of high blood pressure. And of course, many people know that, excess weight can lead to high blood pressure. Insulin resistance can lead to high blood pressure. Stress can lead to high blood pressure. Inflammation can lead to high blood pressure. And of course, blockages in the arteries, poor circulation can lead to high blood pressure. So there are many causes. And only when you break it down and you understand your type of high blood pressure, then you're able to pick the right herbal formula to treat it. And we're going to talk about these different types, and then based on the cause, because the cause dictates the type, and the type dictates the treatment. And you're going to see that I have many different herbal treatments for high blood pressure. In fact, I've had couples where there's husband and wife, both people have high blood pressure, and the cause is completely different. I'll give you an example. Maybe you have the wife, or one person is they're anxious person, they're nervous person, and their blood pressure goes up and down. The systolic, it goes high and low. And then at times when they're resting or sleeping, it's manageable. But the husband, he may have high blood pressure numbers, and they're very not going quite as high as the wife, who's, when she gets anxious, her blood pressure goes up, or she sees a doctor or things like that, her blood pressure goes up. So we know that's connected to her nervous system. But the husband or the partner, their blood pressure may stay high all the time, constantly, even wake up in the morning relaxed. So he could have, restriction in the arteries, blockages in the arteries, and that's going to keep the systolic and diastolic numbers kind of constantly high. And then there's other types of, so the herbs are going to be completely different. So the first thing you have to understand here is that you can't just think, what herbs do I take for my blood pressure? That's the biggest flaw and biggest misunderstanding people have about herbal treatments. So if you just see some product, hey, this is for blood pressure, this is, that's all BS, because you don't know what kind of blood pressure is it. So in Ayurveda, of course, is very sophisticated, and just like in for blood sugar conditions like diabetes, there's 22 types of diabetes in Ayurveda. Now, the Western world, of course, we have like a pre-diabetes, a diabetic, insulin resistance, and type 1, where you're born with it. So you could say there's 4 types in Western, but in Ayurveda we have those. Plus, it's just more sophisticated. There's 22 different types, and you have to know, and that's related to the individual, and of course, related to the dosha, vata, pitta, or kapha. And same here. These treatments are based on the individual and what's causing the imbalance. There's like vata imbalance, which is stress and anxiety bringing up your blood pressure. Pitta imbalance, which is usually inflammation, heat, and burning, bringing up your blood pressure. And then a kapha type of blood pressure, which is usually due to heavy weight and blockages and excess fat and even very high cholesterol numbers. Some people don't even have high cholesterol and they have high blood pressure. Other people have very high cholesterol and they don't have high blood pressure. So, there's just too many variations. And that's what it's taken me decades to get down, is the different variations. And then there's also stages of your progress. In the beginning, you may have to take certain herbs, you may have to take certain larger dosages. And then after your blood pressure is managed, you'll be able to reduce these dosages and even change the formula. And of course, this is the disadvantage somebody has if they just buy these products, even off my website, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, some of these products, because the products are based on the cause, is that they don't know how much to take. They don't know how long to take, but people still have been successful. There's many, like I said, there's many causes. And most people do think it's all genetic, but, I don't believe that this is genetic. And all of these conditions of blood pressure, unless you're having like a valve go bad. I mean, there are valves, but even people with, valves not working properly, have recovered. The body's always trying to heal itself. And until you understand what you're doing to cause it, your diet, your lifestyle, etc., your lack of sleep, your stress, your old past habits, and just your doshic imbalance, you can't treat it until you diagnose it. So that's very important. But let me just show some of the products I have available, because this gives you a scope of the range of different types of high blood pressure. And we're going to go through some of these based, not even all of them. These are, if you go to Herbal, the sponsor of this webinar, and hermentees.com, and you go to cardiovascular health. These are the products: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 different products. And we can see some are for cholesterol, some are just for circulation, some are for heart palpitations, just kind of a racing heart. Some are for blood thinning. And but there's 4 main ones for 4 different types of high blood pressure. Now, remember, there are other causes you could have. If you have inflammatory high blood pressure, then, there could be other, it could even be autoimmune, could be creating the inflammation. You have to get to the bottom of the inflammation. So, for example, if we take this product here, we call it tonic. First of all, tonic means that it's a building and nurturing, and I try to avoid the word healing, but that's what it means. If you just see formula, it's kind of, or the word detox, and it's going to be cleansing. You could have a liver detox, kidney detox, colon detox. It's cleansing and flushing and getting the liver or the kidney or the colon, kind of cleaning it out and stimulating it and getting it working, if you see the word detox. But if you see the word tonic, you're not detoxing your heart. You're supporting your heart and your whole circulation. It really should say more than just heart, because it's a whole cardiovascular system. It should say cardiovascular tonic. It would probably be a better name. And this particular one is for high blood pressure with anxiety and poor circulation. This is a Vata type. See, we can see down here, it says Vata version. And this is the type of blood pressure where you see the systolic and the diastolic numbers go up and down. A Vata type, it can go very high, very low, and usually both the diastolic and systolic numbers are rising and falling quickly. And the pulse is often very fast and racing in this type of person. Even can go over 80 beats per minute. And when the person's stressed out, the blood pressure goes high. And when the person's relaxed, the blood pressure goes down. So this is the first type of high blood pressure. And this formula is designed for this type of high blood pressure. So let's take a look at some of these herbs there. And well, before we even look at the herbs, if we know the cause of this high blood pressure, what is the cause? It's a vata imbalance. So this is going to be a thin skin, thin, light, cold, dry person. So this is going to be a warming formula, and it's going to be very relaxing, maybe even slightly sedating. And it's going to help the person, to calm the heart muscles and to reduce the pulse down. And different herbs are doing different jobs. But the underlying cause is anxiety. So you can't just take the heart, or if this is you, and we're talking about this one category, blood pressure, hypertension, due to aggravation of the nervous system. We're talking about the nervous system is creating your blood pressure problems. It's not a blockage. You may even be relaxed at home and get low numbers all the time and wonder why your blood pressure is high when you go to the doctor, because he's stressing you out. It's called the white coat type of syndrome, where you go see the doctor and your blood pressure goes higher, and then you end up on meds. But when you're relaxed at home, your blood pressure is down. This is what we're talking about. So if we understand the underlying cause is the nervous system, aggravation or stimulation to the nervous system, then we can conclude with this type of person should never take coffee. Coffee will make this blood pressure higher. Coffee will make most people's blood pressure higher. Not all types of blood pressure. Like if you have a big blockage and you have a low pulse, you can still do some and the diastolic number is not high, you can do some coffee. But this type of person, we know the cause is the nervous system. So that means this person cannot do any coffee, none, zero. No stimulants, no chocolate, no TV, no political conversations, no talking to ex-husbands, ex-wives, anything that will stress you out, you have to eliminate. And this person needs to take some relaxing herbs, some calming teas, some sleeping herbs. So I would never give this person just this heart tonic, because I may be addressing this type of high blood pressure, but I'm not addressing the cause. The underlying cause could be the stimulating diet, the stressful diet, the lack of sleep, and stress and anxiety. So this person, I'm going to give them relaxing tea, sleeping tea, going to get them off the coffee, give them adrenal tea, and that's all removing the cause of why they have the blood pressure in the first place. Then I'm going to give them this formula. Now, you can see all of these formulas have Arjuna. Arjuna is the premier herb in Ayurveda for blood pressure and cardiovascular support, we could say. We shouldn't even say blood pressure. We should say for cardiovascular. Arjuna is going to thin the blood. It's going to improve the circulation. It's an astringent, cooling herb that helps the cardiovascular system, clears plaque, very, very effective. Now, Shank Pushpi is a relaxing, cooling nervine. And Jatamatsi is a warming nervine, relaxing. So you see two relaxing herbs in here. And if you go look at formulas like my calming formula, sleeping formula, you're going to see the Shank Pushpi and Jatamatsi a lot, particularly the Jatamatsi. Now, Gotakola is related to Brahmi, which is, it's got that calming effect on the nervous system. And but Gotakola is better for circulation than Brahmi. So it's a still calming herb, but its strength is its ability to improve circulation, particularly to the brain. So Gotakola is used for memory. You see its sister herb Brahmi is in all of the anxiety herbs and even sleeping herbs. Now, the next one is the Sarpaganda. Sarpaganda is a very hard herb to find. we have to import it from India, and it's kind of a sedative. It lowers the pulse rate. So if your pulse isn't high, you don't want to take a lot of sarpaganda, because this is for somebody with a racing pulse. And if you go look at the heart formula, the sleeping tonics, I have many sleeping tonics too. I mean, cooling ones and heating ones, and I have sleep tonic plus. There's a few variations of every condition, but they almost all have sarpagandas because it's also sedative. So it's just like relaxing the heart muscles, relaxing the nervous system, and slowing down the pulse. So if the pulse is high, see, I can customize these formulas too. If somebody says, hey, my blood pressure is better, but my pulse rate is still like 75 to 80, then I can just make a custom formula and I'll just add more sarpaganda. See, so I can always adjust these. Taruni means roses, rose powder. Abrakbasma is a type of basma, which is a mineral. In this case, is mica. And Abrakbasma is used a lot in heart formulas, respiratory formulas, because it's a catalyst. It just makes all the herbs work like twice as good. If you leave out the Abrakbasma, you don't get the results I'm talking about here. Taruni is just a cooling herb. It's in small amounts in here. In another formula, it's in greater amounts. You're going to see a lot of the same herbs, but a percentage of each herb varies. So this is a very effective formula. I don't think we've changed it for a long time. So that is for blood pressure when there's anxiety and poor circulation. By poor circulation, I mean cold hands and feet. So this is somebody who's getting a racing heart, fast pulse, anxiety easy, not sleeping well, and has cold feet. And their overall body is usually cold. This is a vata. So it's a vata type of high blood pressure. That's how we classify it in Ayurveda. And of course, when I see somebody with blood pressure, I'm identifying the type of person they are and then the type of blood pressure they have. Or they can be different, but in most cases, you're going to have a vata person will have vata high blood pressure. So let's take a look at another one. This one is a heart tonic, or I prefer to probably say cardiovascular tonic for high blood pressure. And this one is for somebody with excess weight and usually swelling. Doesn't mean you have to have swelling. People say, well, I don't have swelling. But I said, have you had a swelling in the past? Oh, yeah, I used to have a big swelling problem. It's just the type. This is a kapha type of person. So this person's heavy, slow, and we can even read down here who it's for. It's usually for somebody with high blood pressure. But you see the systolic and diastolic numbers. They don't go up and down much. They're kind of steady, but they go up and they don't come down very easily. And a lot of times these people are taking meds, and the meds are not even reducing the blood pressure down, because this type of blood pressure is due largely to their weight and largely to the excess fat. This type of person will often have high cholesterol numbers, which is blood fat, basically lipids in your blood, and excess weight and swelling in the ankles or puffiness, or there's some swelling going on. So it's a different type of person. And I will say that, sometimes I have to make custom formulas where a person has, maybe swelling, overweight, plus anxiety and racing heart. And then I just have to make the formula for them. And I'm just combining my knowledge of these two sets of herbs and just kind of mixing them and making custom formulas for the individual. But 80-90% of the people will fall in one of these four categories, which we're going to cover today. So let's look at these herbs. You can see there's a big difference here. The first herb, Arjuna, is the same. But here we have another herb, Punarnarava. Punarnarava is for weight loss. It's really used for swelling and water retention, because this type of person, their blood pressure's pushed up a lot of times. It's kind of through a blockage in their system. Now, it doesn't mean their arteries are blocked that they're going to have a bypass surgery. It's not that type of serious blockage. But there's blockages in their lymph. There's swelling in the body. There's water retention a lot of times with this type of person. And there's a lot of excess fat on the body and in the blood. So Punarnarava is a diuretic. Gokshura is another diuretic. So this one will start getting the water out of the body. And we know that blockages in the kidneys can increase blood pressure too. There's so many causes of high blood pressure, but even kidney problems have blood pressure. It can lead to blood pressure. So this type of person, usually there's a kidney aspect to it. They're not stressed out. They're not anxious. They're sleeping fine. They're overweight, heavy, slow, lethargic, clogged up, and swelling. And so, there often is blockages or just poor kidney function. The EGFR can be in the not even so low that you're going to have to get dialysis. It could be like just 50, 60, 70% of your actual kidney flow. If you look at the numbers, your EGFR. So there you can see there is some blockages in the kidneys if you look at the blood work. So this is going to flush out the kidneys, flush out the water, and that will bring down the pressure by getting this water out of the body by improving the kidneys. Gokshura is used mostly for kidneys, and it's a diuretic, and Punarava is used for weight loss, and it's also a diuretic. And then we can see Gugulu. Gugulu is a resin, and it's the main ingredient in getting rid of, as you can see, like a belly fat formula, weight loss formulas, cholesterol formulas. They're all using Gugulu. That's why this formula, you can see it's kind of gray. And that's because Gugulu is a resin, a black resin. And it breaks down fat. It helps with cholesterol, helps you lose weight, and very, very effective. So that's only this one has the Gugulu. Now, it has another herb in here called formula, I should say, called Trikatu. And Trikatu is based on 3 herbs: ginger, black pepper, and a sweet pepper. So this gives it a punch, a peppery, hot flavor, because it's the heat that's going to help the circulation and get things moving. And there is a little sarpgandha, but you can see it's lower on here because sarpgandha is so effective in high blood pressure. So really, it's just Arjuna and the sarpgandha really working on the blood pressure. The Punarava and the Gokshura are for the swelling, the water retention, and the pressure that's being created by the kidneys. And the Gugulu is breaking down the fat, breaking down tissue, clearing, also helping the Arjuna clear the fat from the blood. And this formula will lower cholesterol as well. And then these hot spices like ginger and black pepper, they give it the heat and help keep the blood thin, and help improve circulation, and help with the digestion and heaviness that comes with being a kapha type of person. So that's the other type. See, big difference. But you can see the categories are very clear. Ayurveda is really sophisticated, but you can understand it. Let's go look at another type, and this type is for somebody with body heat and inflammation. Now, you notice the other 2 types that we talked about, particularly the Vata type, they were cold feet. And the Kapha type, we put in black pepper and ginger and even Gugulu's heating. These are all the Kapha one, the whole body's going to get warm. Even the Vata one, the circulation's going to get going. They're going to warm them up. But this person is a Pitta, like me. They're red and hot, and you can see these people when they get high blood pressure, their ears get red, their eyes get bloodshot. You can see the veins busting out on the side of their heads. These are all signs of high blood pressure, but particularly this type of person, the signs and symptoms is they get hot easy, they're sweating at night, their face gets red, their eyes get bloodshot. They get rosy cheeks. You can see the veins protruding around the temples. And when they get angry, then the blood pressure really goes up. This is a Pitta type. So it's a completely different type of person. And here we can get the systolic blood pressure can go quite high, even dangerously high. This is a dangerous type of high blood pressure because this is the type that when it goes too high, the person has a stroke. And it comes from working too hard, pushing too hard, anger, driving themselves too hard. This is a very, Pitta people are very driven, very motivated, very aggressive. like army people, police type of profession where you're having to be aggressive in your job, and then they get the very high blood pressure and they're susceptible for strokes. And sometimes they're on medication and the medication's also not working because their lifestyle of having a stressful life is a big factor for them until they change their life. Just like the Vata type person, they've got to relax, and the Kapha type person has to lose weight. Or the Pitta type person, they just need to chill out. Not relax, but chill and literally bring the body temperature down. Heat in itself, too much heat even creates blood pressure in Ayurveda. So this is going to be a somewhat cooling formula here. And let's take a look at the ingredients. Let's see here. It's a little harder to read, but there it is right there. Arjuna, Sarpaganda, Gotakola, and Abrakbasma, and a lot of rose. And see, it doesn't have the Jatamatsi because Jatamatsi is a heating herb, and there's a lot of Shankpushpi. It's the Shankpushpi, which is and the Gotakola, which are very, and the rose, because the rose petal is very sweet and cooling. But it's this Shankpushpi that's relaxing and cooling and just chilling this person out. And you have to have a little more Sarpaganda to bring down that high spike in the blood pressure. And there's Abrakbasma in all cases, a lot more rose petal in here. But this is a certain type of high blood pressure that is for this Pitta type of person. And so you can see you've got they're going to be warm. They're going to be hot to the touch. You can't give them the other two formulas because the other two formulas could even aggravate their blood pressure and make it worse. Because even though the herbs look similar, it could help in some ways the cardiovascular system, but it may not bring down it could spike the blood pressure. And since we know the cause of this type of blood pressure really is inflammation in the arteries, this person needs to be on an anti-inflammatory diet, should be doing no nightshades, no tomatoes, no hot spices, no ginger, no cayenne pepper for sure. See, people think cayenne pepper is good for blood pressure and it's thinning it out. But for this type of person, it will make it worse. This type of person often has heartburn and acidity. There we can see the ingredients better there with the Taruni rose petals, rose, and Brahmi for the mind, just to calm them down mentally, chill them out. I take a lot of Brahmi, and I love roses and the smell of roses. And so this person probably also this person will almost inevitably have muscle pain and inflammation because they have inflammation in the arteries, maybe inflammation in their heart. And so you don't just have inflammation in one spot. They probably also have muscle inflammation, joint inflammation, but they're tough guys. They're probably not complaining about it much. But so you have to give these people anti-inflammatories. You also have to treat the underlying cause of inflammation. Just like for the Kapha person, you have to treat the weight. Ultimately, the weight has to come down for the blood pressure to come down. And blood sugar could be an issue here too. And this person here for the Pitta type, you have to treat the inflammation, take anti-inflammatory herbs and take an anti-inflammatory diet to get to the root cause. And the Kapha type person, you have to do other additional weight loss herbs. I could be giving weight loss herbs and, less weight loss diet to get the weight down. When this person's weight comes down, then the blood pressure comes down. When this person's inflammation comes down, their blood pressure is going to come down. With a Vata type person, when they're sleeping good, the anxiety's gone, the circulation's better, they're less stressed, the blood pressure is going to come down. Those are the three main types, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Now, there are a few more that we're going to cover here. This is another one. It's for blocked arteries. It's a more serious condition. And you can see here, we have a completely different herbs. And there you can see how dark it is. And that's the resin of the guglu, the one that's breaking down the fat. See, Arjuna's always there. And Ambrakbasma is a catalyst. So this is, when you want to clear the coronary arteries. And when there's blockage, when the doctor says, hey, if you don't change your life, you're going to be doing heart surgery pretty soon. Your coronary arteries are starting to block. So here you can see very fenugreek is helping with the cholesterol. Pushkar Mul is also, you can look up Pushkar Mul. Pushkar Mul, it talks about high blood pressure, but how come I didn't use it on any of the other formulas? Because it's really reducing kapha and blockages. Shilajit, I sell Shilajit. I take Shilajit every day. I've talked about it. It's like a panacea. Everybody can take it for energy. But why is it here? Because it's a trace mineral with the folic acid and other minerals. And those minerals help to clear the arteries, to break down the arteries. Gota Cola for your circulation. But Arjuna and the Gugulu together, these are the real powerhouse. It's kind of backed by the Gota Cola. And Shilajit's a really nice touch. There's only probably like 1% in there. Now, there is another formula. This is what you call formula inside of a formula. This is advanced herbalism here. And it's called Saraswati Churna. Saraswati means the goddess of knowledge. So why is there an herb in here for your memory and knowledge? Because, you take Saraswati by itself, and it improves the memory. Go look at all the memory herbs. They're all using Saraswati. It's made of 12 herbs. We don't make it. We buy the formula and we put it in this formula. But it's clearing the channels, improving the circulation, and getting rid of blockages, and has a very famous herb in it called Vacha. And Vacha means the channel kind of opener. So when you take Saraswati Churna, I have it. It's in like a brain and memory formula here. Saraswati Churna is the main ingredients with a little Brahmi. And when you take it, you kind of feel like, whoa, your circulation gets to your brain and you kind of wake up a little bit and it's a little stimulating. So that's in there to further make this formula very effective. Now, there are times where I end up having to give this formula plus another formula. Now, there's a few more variations here. I have more variations. And like I said, I can make custom formulas for people. I may make a custom formula. I've probably, if I made another one, it would be like the weight loss one plus somebody's overweight, diastolic, systolic numbers are staying up, not coming down. They're steady. It's clearly a kapha type. But now they say there's blockages in the arteries. So I could mix those two together and give it to the person. Someday I may make a formula for that, but usually I just mix those two together. Now, if you've had a history of stroke and you don't really have high blood pressure, but you've had issues in the past, maybe like a little mini stroke, then we have a blood thinning formula. And this is much healthier than taking these aspirin. Of course, many people know now that aspirin isn't good. For your stomach, you can create stomach ulcers. But there's the Gota Cola. So remember we talked earlier about Gota Cola is the first herb in there. And Gota Cola is one of the best herbs for circulation. And Arjuna is still key herb. And Chandraprava is made of 44 herbs. And that's in there. And Chandraprava is also helping to clear the path and help with circulation. And it will help a little bit with swelling. It may bring down blood pressure a little bit, but this one is mostly to avoid clotting. That's its main purpose, avoid clotting. So if anybody's had a little stroke in the past, but their blood pressure is okay, then they want to do the blood thinning formula. Now, you're probably thinking, wow, they're all in powder. Yeah, there is the option to get them in capsules. You can see here, you can pay a little extra, get them in capsules. But I do want to say that the capsules won't work as well. You'll have to take a lot more capsules. It's not the proper way to take these herbs. They need to be dissolved in water, and then you drink the water that is dissolved. True Ayurveda doctor is not selling capsules. There's no capsules in ancient Ayurveda. We have certain herbs that are like in little balls, where they got the herbs and they rolled them in little balls, little resin herbs that are made of resin and stuff. And then, but they dissolve. They're not in capsules. Capsules is just a convenience. I don't like to use them. The more serious the condition, the less I'm willing to even provide capsules. And most of my patients, when I do the appointments, I don't even tell them there are capsules because I want the results. And I've had clients who started some of these products and they got good results, and then they went to the capsules. They didn't get good results, and then had to open up all the capsules and take them. And they have proven to me that they work much better when you dissolve them in water and you take them. And there's different instructions. And on the website, it does tell you how to take it. Usually it's 1 teaspoon in the morning, 1 teaspoon in the evening. And it says down here, a lot of these products, it will say on the bottom, they will work better with the heart tea. Now, the heart tea, where is the heart tea? There's the heart tea. Now, heart tea is popular. People buy it, but it's not going to bring down your blood pressure much. In fact, we get this, and then people say, oh, it helped. I went down 5 points, but, I was like 170, and I drink your tea like 2-3 cups a day, and I'm like 165. It's not working. Well, then once I put them on the powders, and you pick the right one, you have to pick the right one, then you can start dropping them 20, 30 points. And these herbs, they're not like medicine where you take it. Some people, they take it one day and they think, oh, it didn't work. And they'll just keep taking it. It's not going to work for a couple weeks. So the heart tea, it's a good formula. I mean, it's a good tea. I mean, if you don't have very high blood pressure, you're just a little bit high, or you just have a racing heart sometimes, and you don't really have very high numbers, maybe just, what we call minor hypertension, maybe 130 sometimes, but nothing dangerous, then the heart tea is fine. But and you can see it's a very relaxing. Lemon balm's the first ingredient. That's from the mint family. Ginkgo. Here we're going to use mostly Western herbs. Ginkgo is for the brain and the circulation. Motherwort for high blood pressure. Hawthorn leaf and hawthorn berry. I use both. This still works. I mean, the hawthorn berry in particular breaks up plaque in the arteries. Lemon balm is very relaxing. Motherwort, relaxing the heart muscles. Butcher's broom, we use it for varicose veins and poor circulation. Rosemary, poor circulation. Hibiscus, it's a minor one. People try to drink hibiscus tea to get their blood pressure down, and they always tell me it doesn't work. But it's in there, but it's not a big boy. It's not that important. The hawthorn berry and the motherwort, these are the important herbs. I mean, lemon balm is kind of a, just to keep you calm. And there's a little ginger in there too to help keep the blood thin. I mean, the teas taste better, but usually I give them as supplemental. So I may give you one of these other products, and then I'm just going to throw along the tea as well, just to make sure I get the job done. And then once your blood pressure is under control, I'll tell you, just keep drinking the tea. That's the way I use it. Now, of course, people, they get on my site, they think they're going to cure themselves by buying the tea with some reishi mushrooms in it. And, they say it's good. It's working better than the hibiscus tea I've been doing. That didn't work very well. It works better than just the hawthorn leaf I've been doing, because just a single herb is never going to work very good. Tinctures are really almost a waste of time for clearing your arteries. And people try these herbs and tinctures, they don't work. People try them in capsules, they don't work. Even tea is much weaker than any formula. If you were to take these herbs, though, and you grind them up into a powder, and then you started taking the powder, then it would be working much better. So that means the formula really isn't the biggest problem. The problem is that you're taking it as a decoction, and you're not ingesting the whole herbs. You're just taking the extract. And that's also the problem with tinctures. They're just too weak. I mean, sure, I make tinctures. I use tinctures. I give them to kids. I give them to the animals. I put them in the food. But, you don't see me selling them because, I want results. And people always have tried tinctures before they got to me. They're just very weak. So the medium, the way you take the herb, is very important. One more that I forgot to bring up, and that's a calm heart tonic. And this is for racing heart. It means your blood pressure is not very high, but you're getting a racing heart. And there we do show a picture of it with capsules. This one won't be too bad in capsules. That's why we put the picture up there. But it's much more calming. You can see jatamatsi. That's the most calming herb. That'll make you relaxed. Sometimes people say, yeah, I'm, not only is my heart not racing, I'm like all relaxed and chilled out all day. That's because you're taking all this jatamatsi, and it's still got the Arjuna, which is the best premier herb for your whole cardiovascular system. But it's a very relaxing formula. So the two key herbs are the Arjuna and the jatamatsi. And truly the percentage of the jatamatsi, many of those formulas probably just had 10, maybe 20% jatamatsi. I think this one's like 50% jatamatsi, because that's what you're really mixed with the Arjuna, the cardiovascular. And it's just kind of backed up with the gotu-kola for the circulation, also calming, and then further kind of supporting the whole formula, a little cinnamon. So this does help very well with heart palpitations and racing heart, and maybe minor high blood pressure. And it seems to work okay in capsules because it's not that serious of a condition. So I hope that gave you a better idea of how to categorize your blood pressure. That's what you first need to do. You need to categorize it. What do I have? Do I have vata, high blood pressure, or I'm all worried and that's shooting up my blood pressure, or pitta, where I'm getting all mad and red and shooting up my blood pressure, or kapha, where I'm getting all clogged up and swelling and overweight's pushing up my blood pressure? You really need to break it down, and you could have a combination of the two. That's really where you need to go. And then you have to treat the underlying causes. So that's why if you do, people buy it online and they say it's helping, but I'm having to keep taking it. And then they do an appointment and I find, well, that's because you didn't treat the cause. If you're overweight, the cause is weight. If your blood sugar is high, that's a factor. If you're not sleeping well and there's anxiety, that's a factor. If you're having inflammation, that's a factor. So you still, when I do appointment, I'm going to give you herbs for the underlying cause plus the right heart formula. You're never going to walk out the door with just the heart formula. All treatments have to be holistic. You can't just say treat your one cardiovascular condition in isolation of the whole body and not address the causes. I mean, that's the number one treatment in any good treatment, is to remove the cause. But people don't do that on their own. They're looking for the quick cure, and they want one product, and then they want to put it in capsules, and they want to take one pill a day. No, you got the wrong thinking there. And people do it. They buy my products, and then they say, well, it's not working. They're taking like 1 or 2 capsules a day. Well, I say take about 5 capsules in the morning, 5 capsules in the afternoon. If that doesn't work, knock it up to 7 or 8. So that's a lot of capsules, but for teaspoons, it's only a couple teaspoons. See, 2 teaspoons is just 6, capsules, and 3 teaspoons, a tablespoon, is just 8. So you can shoot down a tablespoon, just mix it with a cup of hot water and slug it down like a tequila shot. It's easier than swallowing 9 capsules, really. And some people, they'll go over to the capsules and then they're back over to the powder because it's just, they got used to it. You're just not used. Most people just aren't used to taking, things that aren't tasty. And this is, herbal medicine. It's not going to taste tasty. You have to have the discipline to be successful in any natural treatment, because you have to have the discipline to get rid of all these bad habits that caused it. And if you're anxious and not sleeping and your heart's racing, you got to get rid of that bad habit of doing the coffee. If you're overweight, you got to get the bad habit of eating all the carbs and snacking and the cookies and if you've got inflammation, you got to get on this anti-inflammatory diet and get rid of all the nightshades and that are contributing to your inflammation. So you have to have discipline to change your diet, and you have discipline to take the herbs even though they don't taste good. And then you have to have the discipline to do it every day, like you take brushing your teeth. Now, we had our mama who helped remind us over and over and over and over to brush our teeth. And now when we're adults, we brush our teeth because our mom had to remind us like 300-400 times. So when it's now you got to take the herbs like you're brushing your teeth, just like every morning you get up, you make your herbs, you shoot down your herbs, you may have to drink the tea during the day. So I'll give person, like, usually these herbs shouldn't be taken with meals. They should just be on empty stomach. So usually I say morning and evening. So you take in the morning, then during the day, you can drink the tea. And then in the early evening, you can take another dose. And if after a couple of weeks the blood pressure is high, people text me every day, it's helping, it's come down, but it's still high. Sometimes I don't even go look at their case and see what they're taking. I just text back, double the dosage. Let me know how it's doing in a week. And then they text back even 2-3 days. Oh, yeah. Now it's better. See? So really with herbs, you just got to take more. Unfortunately, people don't understand herbs. They're scared to take herbs. They want to stop them right away when they're healthy for you. And people say, what about my vitamins? All the vitamins are in the herbs. They're all plants. They're full of vitamins. We have a different herbs like say for bones, building bones. And people are taking synthetic calcium, synthetic magnesium, and they still have degenerative bone conditions because these are just synthetic vitamins. They may not even be absorbed, and go directly to your bones. But when you're taking a bone building formula, it doesn't say, hey, it's high in calcium, but it is high in calcium and minerals. And that's why they just didn't know it. So people get, I think, distracted by nutrition. Nutrition kind of sends people astray because they just think, okay, they can take some CoQ10 and some anti-inflammatory herbs, or and then drink a little hibiscus tea, and then it doesn't work. And they come to me. Almost all my patients are all taking lots of supplements before they get to me. And mostly I can remove the majority of them, as much as 80%. And people say, well, what about my vitamins? I go, this amla, for example, is super high in vitamin C. It's one of the highest forms of vitamin C, and you're taking it. It's in your formula. Oh, and then like I said about the bone building formula, it's got an herb called ashwagandha. Well, now they've done tests on it, and they found out, wow, this ashwagandha is super high in calcium. Well, that's why it's building your bones, but it's coming from a powdered plant. You're just taking the plant, grinding it up, and eating it. So all your vitamins, your anti-inflammatory, your antioxidants that you need for that condition are actually in the herbs. It's just that we don't list off the vitamins because that's not how Ayurvedic thinks. Herbalist doesn't think in terms of nutrition. The nutritional value is in there. It's just that we're not talking about it because nutritional science is a much later science. It does have value, but unfortunately, it gives people a false sense of hope. And, it is more preventive than it is curative. I take supplements. I take vitamins, all food-based. I never take synthetic vitamins. I take all food-based supplements, but this is all preventive. Once you've got, serious high blood pressure, you're not going to get it down with taking some vitamin supplements, particularly synthetic ones. You need something that's treating this type of condition that you have. So these are very important points. I hope you understood. You have to have and the diet has to change. The lifestyle has to change. You created it. You didn't get it from your genes. I know it's nice to think of blaming our ancestors or our genes, but most of the time it's you. It's, in our stressful life and our bad diet and our bad habits, our drinking, our smoking, our eating out at restaurants, all the bad food in restaurants, all the chemicals and pesticides in our food. Hey, cancer just doesn't develop all by itself. I mean, it's developing over decades, and it's largely due to, your diet, and things like stress and lifestyle can just aggravate it. So that's just an example. But same with these conditions here, because now you can see the causes behind them. The anxiety created the blood pressure for some people. The inflammation created the blood pressure for some person. The overweight and blood sugar created the blood pressure for another person. So how you created that? Now, maybe not always knowingly you created it, because you didn't know nightshades were inflammatory. The tomatoes and the eggplant, the bell pepper are all going to restrict your arteries. They're not vascular dilators like niacin is. It's going to dilate your vascular system. If somebody's taking niacin and I say, okay, fine, keep taking it. It's a vascular dilator. But the nightshades, they constrict your circulation. And that's tomatoes and tomato sauce. But particularly the pitta person has to get off of those nightshades. So, and just like the vata person has to get off of the coffee, or the treatment will not work. The pitta person has to get off of the hot spices, the hot foods, and the nightshades. And the kapha person has to stop eating the donuts and all the carbs and the bread and the pasta and the pizza. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So, and I try to give these instructions. There's going to be more dietary instructions coming in the future. Where I'll add those in here on more on dietary guidelines. I had little notes in here like you got to lose weight or something like that. But in the future, I will add more notes under, how to take it, how your diet should be. But I do put in notes in here And I do mention that diet, lifestyle, stress levels, and even sleep also must be managed for most cardiovascular conditions. I do say that right there, and a little link to a bunch of testimonials. I say that on all the products, that you have to look holistic, and you can't just be thinking you're going to take this herb and get away with it as all by itself. I was just saying right there. See, right, you go on these products, it says about, it describes it, for who, it tells you who it's for, which we talked about today, how to take it, which, tells you how much to take. And then there's some notes, and it says right there, diet, lifestyle, stress, and even sleep and weight, of course, all can be factors in cardiovascular conditions. And there's a link to the testimonials, and we can see a lot of testimonials here. I already can see an improvement in my blood pressure in a short period of time. I'm healthier than I've ever been. Blood pressure's under control. I've been able to get off my medications. I was on blood pressure medications for the better part of my life. Now I'm all off the medication. Herbs have helped because the herbs are curing the condition. Unlike your medicine is artificially bringing it down for the day. You don't take these herbs forever. Now, you may want to just keep drinking a cup of that heart tea for a long time because you've already had the condition, but basically you're not taking them forever. People take these for 6 months, and maybe they still 1 year later they're taking 1 teaspoon a day or drinking the heart tea. But this person says their blood pressure's coming down in a few weeks. This person's showing their numbers, cholesterol down, blood pressure down. This is all with the herbs. And like I said, all these people probably were already taking a lot of vitamins, a lot of supplements before they met me, and we got rid of most of those vitamins and supplements. We addressed the cause, we removed the cause, we treated their type of high blood pressure, and then usually when it's under control, I generally recommend you got to stay on that diet because you don't want the cause to come back again, and also maybe just keep drinking the heart tea 1 cup a day, just to keep it under control, because once you've had a condition once, you're very susceptible to have it again a second time. So I hope that helped give you hope that these cardiovascular conditions are very treatable, and they're really even more preventable. But unfortunately, nobody really is being very preventive. And most people just, wait around till it gets high. Of course, a good Chinese herbalist can bring down your blood pressure as well. And we're not just talking about bringing it down or managing it. We're talking about removing the cause, the blockages, the inflammation in the arteries, the inflammation of the heart muscles, the nervous system, stimulating the heart and the poor circulation. All the factors behind that are creating the blood pressure is what the herbs are addressing. So the longer you take the herbs, the less you need of them. And this is another big mistake. I tell people, take 2 teaspoons. Your blood pressure is very high. Take two teaspoons in the morning. Take 2 teaspoons in the evening. A month later, they say, no, well, it's still high. I go, how much you taking? Well, I was scared. I took a half a teaspoon. Well, that's why it's not working, because they're afraid to take the herbs. They're taking 5-6 meds and not thinking about it, but they're afraid to take the herbs. You need to be taking the herbs first, and maybe take the medication. All healthcare systems have value, and the medication could be saving your life. And you may be so advanced, you have no choice, but you have to be on the medication. A lot of people, they're on the medication, and I tell them, do not stop the medication. You need to take the herbs for a few months to improve the cardiovascular system until you get almost like low blood pressure. Then, you could go to your doctor and say, hey, look, doc, my blood pressure is so low, I'm getting dizzy. And then the doctor says, oh, let me lower your medication. So then he'll lower it because your cardiovascular system has improved due to the herbs. Then you can get off of your medication in a healthy and safe way. Then you could be on the herbs and keep reducing them down. And then maybe, like I said, you could just do a preventive dose after that. 1 teaspoon every morning, or a cup of tea, of heart tea every day, just to keep it in check and avoid all of the issues that created the blood pressure in the first place. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I hope this gives you a lot of hope, and understand this condition is 100% treatable, particularly in the early stages. Don't wait until your arteries are clogged and you have to go to surgery, because if they're clogged, and 90%, you're going to have to go do the bypass. It's just too late. So don't wait until things are too late. You start getting chest pains or racing heart or high blood pressure, or you're taking meds and the blood pressure is still high. You need to deal with that and not be putting it off, which unfortunately most people do. And sometimes I won't even take a case because it's too advanced and they put it off too long. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you all.